Welcome back to another fabulous episode of the Fab Fatties. I'm Allie.
I'm Rebecca.
I'm Alyssa.
Today we're beyond excited to dive into the heart of Empire Waste with the two incredible lead actors, Mia Kaplan and Jemima Yevu, who brought the two lead characters to life on the big screen. These characters aren't just roles, they're reflections of the struggles and triumphs that so many of us face when it comes to body image and self-love. We're about to hear all the behind-the-scenes tea on what it was like to step into these powerful stories and how the film's message resonates both on and off screen. So grab your popcorn because this is going to be a conversation you won't want to miss. Mia and Jemima, welcome to the Fab Fatties.
Hello.
Hi, my name is Mia Kaplan. My pronouns are they, she, and I play Lenore Miller in Empire Waste.
My name is Mima or Jemima. My pronouns are she, they, and I play Kayla in Empire Waste.
Amazing. Thank you guys. We're so excited that you're here. I'm going to let Rebecca kick it off because she's itching.
Okay, so something that we've done sometimes on some of our interview episodes, and we have interviewed each other too and like done a little deep dives on each other.
Obsessed.
So we do rapid questions, and these are just like your first initial responses. Sometimes they're silly, sometimes they just, whatever your first idea is, that's what we want to know.
Great.
So I'm going to start off first. And this is something that our listeners always want to know about, and it's something that's often talked about in fat community is where's your favorite place to buy clothes?
Ooh, cider right now. Yes! I really love cider. This is cider. I am a cider disciple. If you will. I love cider.
That went deeper than I expected it to, and I'm happy for
I was
them.
like waiting for the other term, a cider disciple. I do love that. I do love some cider. All right. How about you, Mia?
For me, it's Eloquy right now. Eloquy, and if I'm being so real, Old Navy for sure.
You know what? Rebecca and I went on an Old Navy kick this summer. We for sure did.
Listen,
for sure.
They do some
They've
basics.
got the basics so well.
They just need to put all the sizes in store, and I'd be an Old Navy disciple, but they just haven't got me there yet.
Clock it immediately.
Yeah, what happened? Didn't they like have some whole campagin where they were like, all of our sizes are in store?
Didn't they?
And
what
then
happened?
They blamed us. I'm like, us, the three of us specifically. No. They blamed all the fat people, and they were like, look, we put your sizes in store, and then you didn't come in store to shop during the pandemic.
Right.
So we took your sizes out of the store. Go back to your houses and shop online, you fatties.
And they only did one campaign, and that was it. And they didn't do any work with the plus size influencer community, which does drive a lot of sales. Like that's where a lot of people see it on everyday bodies and get some ideas.
Yeah.
So I'm like, misstep.
And not for nothing, you need to build trust with the fat community.
Absolutely.
We have been done so dirty by so many stores and dressing rooms that I'm not walking into any store and just grabbing something.
Yeah.
No.
I'm not doing it.
Right.
So shame on them.
All right, I have one.
Go.
This was on my list, but I feel like it's a rapid fire question. Chapel Roan. Love, hate, love.
Love.
Yes.
Love to the max.
Love.
I have been on the Chaperone train for years, trying to get everyone behind me, and it's finally happening.
I'm like looking at you like with so much respect right now. I'm like, yes.
I saw her on TikTok when she was like promoting the Pink Pony Club release a few years ago, and I was like, you guys, like this is it, and nobody would listen to me, and now look at us.
And now look at us.
Just justified.
You're like, get in the caboose. That's where you belong.
Get on the club. Get in the club, everybody. I've been in the Pink Pony Club. I love that.
Right. Period.
I am such a stan. I do want to say that when I first brought Chapel Roan to the girls, I did annoy the shit out of Alyssa for like 2 days straight with Hot to Go, and then she hasn't been able to stop listening to Chapel Roan since.
Yeah.
So you're
Now
welcome.
I'm obsessed.
You're welcome.
At first I was like HOTTOGO.
Mm-hmm.
You can take me hot to go.
She was like, what is that?
I didn't get it. Now I get it.
Hot to go. She was like, oh. To be fair, she was dyslexic though. Hey Fab Fatties fam, cooler days are coming and Snow Country Outerwear has you covered with top-notch outerwear designed with our bodies in mind. offering women's sizes 1X to 6X with perfect fits in short, regular, and tall snow pants and ski bibs arriving mid-October. And guys, you're set too with sizes up to 7XL and tall options. Snow Country focuses on delivering excellent fits and customizable wears, ensuring the best in plus-size performance. Use code Fab Fatties 10 for 10% off through September 30th and gear up for the cold in style and comfort.
Okay, my rapid fire question is zodiac signs.
Do you want to go first? Oh, I mean,
You go.
Okay.
Mima is like the zodiac sign, like god. like every time I see Mima, like there's a reading happening.
Obsessed.
I'm determined that we're gonna have one day where we have like a live reading on camera and like we work with someone that does readings.
I don't know. I feel like I'll get my feelings hurt really easily.
I mean, the chart doesn't lie. I will say that. So I'm so sorry, but I've also had to come with like I've had my feelings hurt by my own chart many times. Yeah. Oh, but I'm a Pisces.
Ooh.
I am a Pisces.
Okay.
All right.
Yes.
And I am a Cancer.
Okay.
I don't know too much about Cancers.
Okay.
Just like criers.
Well.
That's really all I know. But
Nurturing.
You fit in this crybabies club that we have here.
She doesn't cry.
I don't belong, but you are welcome to take my place.
Thank you. Thank you.
Amazing. Amazing. Well, you've survived the rapid fire, so congratulations. We love that for you.
Yay.
I mentioned that this podcast started because we were friends who had a shared fat experience, and we started talking about our experiences as fat women, and we discussed what that was like with each other. And we had discussions that we'd never had before growing up, because a lot of us were the only fat friend in our friend group. And it made me curious about this movie where we see two fat characters become friends, and oftentimes fat experience feels very isolating. But I'm also curious, like, do you have people in your life who are your fat friends prior to the film or since that you talk to about your bodied experience of life?
Yeah, totally. I mean, I think like at this point in my life, I would not survive without some sort of fat community. Like we have a little group chat of me and my fat friends that like go to college with me, and it's like, guys, like need a fat day ASAP.
Oh my God, I
This
love
is
that.
too much. Yeah, but like my freshman roommate, who I'm still roommates with, is fat, and like we wear the same size, and it was like the first time that I got to like trade clothes with someone, which like as a teenager and in high school was all I ever wanted. And I was like, oh my God, I get to go through your closet and like pick stuff out. That's crazy. And like, duh, we should all have that experience.
Yes.
And I mean, like, from an experience of working on a set, like, where there are other fat people, is the most comforting, brilliant thing that has ever happened. And every set should have that for multiple reasons. But I mean, now Mima and I have gotten close, and it's like we have each other through this, and especially like in this industry, dear Lord, what a ride it is. And so like having that camaraderie is essential to well-being.
Absolutely. Absolutely. How about you, Mima?
Yeah, I mean, I like can talk a little bit about like the background, my background and stuff, and like in high school felt very isolated just because like I was more often than not like the biggest person in the room, and then like other people who were also big, like you would want to make those connections with them, but they've also felt like they needed to isolate themselves. And now I'm kind of like trying to like build that community where it's very like just body positivity forward in like all of my friend groups. My best friend for the longest, who's also my cousin, Audrey, is also a big person and has really been like my rock, like just like going through junior high and high school. And now I'm just like kind of slowly building up that community with people of all types of bodies and just making sure that that is like a an ideal or like a value is a better word, within our friend group, and just making sure that we're all good, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yes.
I also want to add, like, in high school, I had friends who were fat who did not want to be fat. And there's a big difference in having friends that are comfortable in their fatness and positive in the way that they look out at the world, as opposed to everything's against me, and how detrimental that can be to everything in your life.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like whenever I think about my high school experience, I was the biggest in the room. There were some people who were like quote unquote chubby, you know, and they might have felt themselves fat, but they so did not want to identify as fat
Right.
that it was impossible to talk about our bodies outside of the framing of dieting, you know, and it wasn't until I was much older, much older than y'all, that I was able to have that. So like it is like a little bit healing to hear about younger people experiencing that at a much younger age than I did. Like the fact that you are in your college dorm room and you have a roommate who you can talk to about those things, like badass. Like I love it for you.
Thank you.
No,
I
I
love
love
it
that.
too.
I love that. I think that like that really that kind of like jogged something for me. Well, in both of what all three of you were saying, but um because same, like I was the fat friend. But I had two fat sisters, but the three of us were very much just so rooted in just wanting to shrink ourselves. And so it wasn't, and I also had a very like contentious relationship with my sister. So like there was no closet sharing. So like it literally wasn't until I became friends with these girls that I started to be able to share clothes with my friends. And it truly, like you said, like it's just been so transformative to be like,
Right.
I literally sometimes will go like when we're getting ready for for a recording, I will go and scroll their Instagrams to be like, what do I want to wear?
I
Hey.
love that.
Every time I post
It's
something, she
so
goes, "I
good.
will be borrowing that," and
I
I'm
will
like,
be borrowing that.
"Nothing is mine anymore."
To be fair, I feel like Alyssa has a cooler style than I do, and that I'm not sure I can pull it off. So I'll go and scroll hers and be like, I don't think I can do that. But I'll be like, let me borrow that top, and I'll style it my way.
Right. Love that.
I'm really interested in asking some theater nerd questions. And it's only because I watched the trailer to the movie and I'm in tears. Right? Like we talk about this, but like we really didn't have a community growing up. Like it is much later in life, and something I say all the time is like I didn't even know not dieting was an option. Like I didn't know there was an option to just like exist. And this movie was fat joy in a trailer. And gosh, it brought up so much. And I think what I really want to know is when you work on a piece and there is no separation from your life, you know, like there's emotional recall and there's, I don't know, like working through the moment and what's coming up for you. And I think there's so many questions I have for like what this process was like for you and how you took care of yourselves. And you know, what shit did you have to work through to just be able to sit in a scene and be able, you know, like there's so much there. I don't even know how to form that question for you. So I'm going to just say that and let you interpret it however.
I guess I can start, but like it first of all, it starts with like having like a good routine of kind of just like how you take care of yourself and your mental health, right? Like when the weekend hit, like you best believe I was locking my door and I was watching Game of Thrones. Like I was
Yes.
like that's what I was doing. But also, I think that I have to give a lot of praise to Claire, Crystal, and Lizzie, and for them being able to create a place where when we were like the cameras were not rolling, like we could be silly and there could be like affirmations, and everyone and everybody and how they played a role in this, took a lot of care with it. And it was nice to be able to kind of just like separate that just for a little bit. You know, me and Mia, we were always goofing. Like we were always goofing. We were always giggling about something. And
Oh yeah.
it just was so nice to like, like go from something that's like really hard and then just like giggle on the side and be able to do that and just, just exist if that makes sense.
It absolutely
Yeah.
does.
Yeah.
Yeah. We were loved and supported very thoroughly on this set by every single person.
Yes.
Like there's a scene in the film where not no spoilers, but like the room is sort of affected visually
Mm,
by something, and
I know what you're talking
the head of
about.
like the guy who like locks the doors at night like came to our cars and was like, I don't want you seeing this before you have to, like warning us. It's like just this older man who had our best interests in mind, like, and truly, wasn't a part of this movie from the ground up, but as we all got to know each other, it was such a family and was such a supportive environment. And for me, with this film specifically, I had to be ready. Like, I knew that it came to a point in my life when I had spent time to heal.
Mm.
Because I have done other stuff before where I did not heal, and it affected years and years and years and years ahead. My first film, I was 13, and I kissed a skinny boy, and he had a bunch of lines about, like loving me in spite of. And I spent the rest of my high school years trying to fight that.
Mm.
And like coming into this, I knew that I had to do the work beforehand to
Mm.
let this be an experience where, yes, and for the emotional parts, I know what that feels like, and I know where in my body that lives,
Yeah.
but I cannot let myself go back to that place because I will spiral and I will hurt myself. And there's this big misconception about actors that we have to be in pain, and I'm the biggest advocate of actually the opposite, and you cannot truthfully experience something without being healed. And of course, like, I'm 22, there's things in my life that are not healed and are not safe yet, and for that reason I don't touch those things
Mhm.
in
Sure.
in or try my best not to, or have those conversations. And like the hardest day on set, I had my mom come on set, and when I went off screen, instead of eating with the group, I sat with my mom because that's what I needed. And it was just like everybody was on board with that. And our having women and queer people behind the camera is the greatest privilege ever, and makes all the difference in the world.
100%. Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, when we talked to Claire and she explained kind of the intention of the crew and what they set up to support the mission of the movie and how many different hands were in there, but also how many decisions were being made to
Right.
do this as right as possible, but also honestly, if things did get messed up, it was so good to hear that that was a value. And I totally agree that that value is lived by women and queer people daily as they take care of their communities. And so, yeah, love that that was behind the scenes of this movie.
Hey everyone, did you know that the Fab Fatties are on Patreon? Yes, we are, and you can follow us for more behind the scenes chaos. We have bloopers, we have Allie raging, we have, me climbing out windows. I don't know, we just have a bunch of crazy stuff over there. Yeah, so you can find us on Patreon. That's
P-A-T
PATREON
E-O-N .com / the Fab Fatties.
PATEON.
No. PATREON.
That's what I said.
.com / the Fab Fatties.
And we will see you over there.
I think to kind of, I don't know, maybe piggyback onto your question or follow up to your question a little bit, Alyssa. I don't know. That made me a little bit emotional because I think that's something that we try to do for each other so much, right? Is to give each other that support, because outside of the three of us, we don't have a ton of support as far as the podcast goes. Um, Physically, right? We have a ton of support online. We have a ton of support when it comes to our viewers and our listeners. And we do have our Charlotte Plus group that Rebecca was one of the co-founders. Who put together this plus size community here in Charlotte, which is just incredible. Um, but it is really nice when you have people who are outside of it, right? Who are outside of it, who are not necessarily living in fat bodies and can completely understand every single bit of it, but want to understand and want to give space, right? And
Yeah.
we even have had a couple experiences here in the studio, with I'm thinking of Liz right now, who Liz is like, I've told her before that she has well, she's not here today, but we love Liz very much. But I've told her that she has like a little inner fat girl, because she's just the most kind, and like she's so and I don't want to talk about Liz's body, but like, she lives in a straight size body, and she's never had the lived experience of a fat body. But the way that she's always treated us has been so kind and so amazing. And then Andy, who was
Who works the
also
studio.
a technical assistant here as well. That was so eye-opening for me the first time that Andy sat in on one of our sessions. Like, he was truly like listening and very like just enthralled by what we were saying, and afterwards really gave us like a wow, like you've really kind of like opened up something for me. And like it really is so nice just to have people that are outside of it, that are willing to understand, and willing
Right.
willing to share that empathy, right? And I think that's a lot of what we get on the opposite side, right? That hate of just complete and total lack of empathy, of understanding that not everybody has the same singular experience in life. And so I love to hear that you had that experience on set. And I do I do wonder, like, you know, obviously the three of us, we are three fat best friends, and we do lean on each other very heavily for a lot of support, not just fat support, right? But a lot of different kind of support.
Right.
You know? But
I know exactly what you mean.
yeah, so I'm
Yeah.
wondering like what that looks like for you. Where are your support systems?
I like, my family is obviously a big thing. My parents are like my biggest cheerleaders. It's like really cute, but sometimes I'm just like, okay, settle down. My baby sister is a big one too. Like I always joke that she keeps me humble, but at the same time, like, she's always excited for me about anything that I'm doing. It could be the littlest thing. So those people right there are really my biggest support system, and that includes like my cousins and stuff as well. Um, but yeah, like, I have like college friends that are really supportive and always want to hear about what I'm doing, and always letting me know that if I need anything, I can talk to them about anything, and that they are waiting with a flaming axe to cut anybody down. And I'm just like, real,
I love
real.
that.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. I've built this like little community of like the most gorgeous queer people and lovely humans ever, and I somehow found them in Texas, which is the craziest
Yeah.
thing
That
ever
is
because I'm
surprising. Yeah.
from I'm from California, and I go to school in right outside of Austin, and I was like, I'm so scared, like nothing's gonna happen, and then I found this like little tribe of humans and several fat people and straight size people who just like are willing to learn and get it and like listen. And you know, I love going to the pool with them and putting on a bathing suit and like my parents are my rocks, and that's really lovely. I'm really grateful for that. And I have nieces and nephews now that like I like feel like I do this for them. You know, it's I go home and I see my niece dancing around, and like I never want her to feel the certain things that I have felt.
Yeah.
And it's like really awesome. And I mean, like through this film with Claire and Crystal and Angela and like our whole team and Mima and Holly and Daisy, like everybody, and like
Yes.
Jolene Purdy and Missy Pyle are like some of the greatest women on the face of the earth.
100%.
I
Like,
love that.
and who are texting me being like, hey, if you need help with press, I'm here. And I'm like, you were on the White Lotus. Like, you don't have to tell me that. You're in Johnny Depp's Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. And am I allowed to curse on this podcast?
Oh,
Please
yeah.
do.
Okay,
yes.
okay. To say, and fucking Ma, like one of the greatest films ever. You know?
Yeah.
God.
I am curious.
Yeah.
I'm curious what you're kind of set up or thinking about with this film getting into a much larger audience, you know, an audience that's not as film conscious. You know, with it going into theaters, you're now meeting much more of like just the consumers of media, not so much the people that are just interested in film as an art form, right? Like they're going for entertainment. What is your anticipation about how the public will receive it? What are you kind of, you know, thinking about as it goes into that? And it could be, you know, how you plan to address your self-care during it, what you think about getting positive and or negative reception.
Highly recommend don't watch troll videos of yourselves because I have a feeling you'll meet a couple of ours in the coming months. Don't watch them. No.
Yeah.
That's also a lesson to myself.
Yeah, that's something she needs to keep on learning.
In my like introspection and like daydreaming and just lots of thinking and yapping that I do to myself, I you know, people are going to see something that's different or something that they think that they don't like, and they're obviously going to be scared of it. That's a natural human reaction, right? But because I'm a very optimistic person, what I hope is that with this film it starts to bring up more conversations and more just like earnest questioning that people have, rather than just like kind of just like hate, like rah, rah, rah. I understand like kind of like going into this, like what this means. My self-care is really like gonna turn off my phone and go touch grass. Like that's literally like what I'm
Love
gonna
that.
like. Yeah, I will be touching a lot of grass. But I really just hope that it opens the door for people to have a lot more honest conversations about body image and kind of just like the media and how they portray people of different bodies. So yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean the response that we're getting so far, majority of it is like exactly what I would hope.
Yeah.
I
And
love that.
is so many people being like, oh my God, I'm opening Instagram and crying. Why? Can't wait to see this.
Hi.
And I'm like, yeah, because we all needed this. It's no, and some of the responses that we've gotten from festivals is like people who are straight size being, I felt that too. I
Yeah.
felt that too, and I wasn't aware of how much it affects people in bigger bodies. And thank you, because now I get it.
Yeah.
Which is like, that's all you want. It's like we make films to create empathy
Yeah.
and all of that. I mean, like you're talking about fat people, you're gonna get hate, but honestly, like I've been laughing a lot. Somebody commented like after watching the trailer, like going on a diet, and I was like, that's funny. That's funny, you guys.
That's
Like,
hilarious.
what? Like, I'm at this point in my life where I'm like, wow, you hate yourself so much that you have to say these things about watching me like have the time of my life, and guess what? I'm living the dream.
Yeah.
Like, I'm
Period.
literally
Yep.
accomplishing all of my life's goals, and I'm 22.
I
So
love
watch
Clock
that.
out,
it,
you
clock
know?
Yes.
it,
Like,
clock it, clock it,
it's
Yes.
clock it
and I
immediately.
self-care wise, it's like I'm just trying to stay busy, and
Yeah.
you know, I'm a musical theater major, so I
Hell
live in
yeah.
playland all day, and I get to exist in that. And yeah, I mean, I have, like I said, like a really lovely support group of people who are like, yeah, let's go do something and not be on the internet today.
Yeah.
And I live next to this like gorgeous river that feels like it has healing powers. And I'm, trying to
that.
journal more, try to get my thoughts out onto the page so that I can kind of just exist and be present for all of this.
Mhm.
Because, I mean, it's not every day that you have a movie like coming to theaters, you know?
Yeah.
It's
Absolutely.
pretty
Exactly.
it's pretty crazy. It's pretty
It's
wild. It's
amazing.
pretty surreal.
It's amazing.
Yeah, something we talked about with Claire that's also an echo from Barbara Butch, who was the DJ at the Olympics. Is like, I did this in this body. And like that is becoming a mantra for me because, like you just mentioned, like these are accomplishments of yours. These are you living out your dream. These are you using your talents, right, in this body. And if people can't receive it, too bad because you're the one doing
Fuck
these
'em.
things, right? But I do think that this movie is going to be so transformative for so many people. I love myself a coming of age story. Like I loved teen books and teen movies and that I still as an older person watch a lot of them. And damn, I wish I was in high school when this movie came out, you know? Like
Seriously.
I just am so
Right.
excited for the people who will get to see it.
As a plus size girly, we don't always get the most fun options when it comes to our cold weather wear. That's where Snow Country outerwear comes in. With sizes 1X to 6X and some of the most fun colors we've ever seen, they truly have thought of it all. They've got customizable wears with drawstrings and Velcro and ways to make our coats look different than our friends next to us. Use our code FabFatties10 for 10% off your order now through September 30th to style your winter wardrobe.
I have to ask, and not to like bring down the mood or anything, but for people who are not at this point, who are like, yeah, I'm fucking doing it. I'm living my dream. I'm 22. Look at me type of vibe. What was the pivotal point to get you to here? Right? Because it's not all super positive growing up in a fat body. There is a lot of messaging everywhere about our bodies regardless. And I think I'm interested into if there was a specific moment where you were like, yeah, I can't keep doing this or something needs to change.
I think at some point in high school, I just like started needing something different and saying like I can't, I'm 14, I'm on Jenny Craig and I lost 25 pounds and then I gained it back.
Yeah.
I was also diagnosed with PCOS when I was 14
Okay.
and I broke down and I said, "Oh my God, it's not my fault."
Wow.
And I was like, "Wait, why is that in my brain?"
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and so I just needed something different. And so I went searching on the internet and I read this interview recently of Beanie Feldstein
I
being like
love.
I love her. The further away you are from the standard, the less you crave it. And
Yeah.
I felt that viscerally and was like, yeah, I'm happy. I enjoy existing the way that I exist. And a lot of that comfortability came when I came out
Yeah.
and when I accepted parts of myself that I hadn't before. And I said, oh, a lot of the standards I was giving myself were from the idea that I needed to be desired by men.
Sure.
And then I found body neutrality. and I found the idea that I didn't have to be happy all the time,
Mm-hmm.
and that I can dance and feel good, and my body does that for me. And just because I wake up one day feeling like I don't feel great today, like, doesn't mean that morally something is wrong with me.
Yes.
And discovering that through the pivotal years of like becoming a 17, 18-year-old was terrifying, and yet the most necessary thing that I have ever experienced ever.
Wow.
1,000%. I can't imagine what my life would have been like if I had gone through that at 17 or 18 years old versus in my 30s. I mean,
Right.
my 20s wouldn't have been spent hating myself. So props to you.
Thank you. And it came from like watching movies like Dumplin', and like
Yes.
honestly, like Hairspray had such an effect on me. I watched
Love
it again
Hairspray.
last night, and I'm like, this movie is golden. Now, if it was created in 2024, I'd be like, what is happening? But
Yes. Yes.
for its 2007 premiere date, holy shit, you know?
Alyssa and I do have quite a few times busted out some Good Morning Baltimore in my car. So
You have to.
Oh, it's my turn.
I was about to pressure you.
I was about to lead us. I was going to say, do you want to talk about
Okay. So I would say that like during like middle school and high school, I feel like there was like a different approach to it. It was very much like a fake it till you make it type of like thing. I was not to like bring the mood down even more, but I was like severely depressed. I was dealing with so much. And I feel like it was, I don't know, maybe like the spirit behind me saying, maybe if you just keep chugging along, like someday it's gonna come into fruition. And I guess I kept like chugging along like that, and like this kind of like days, like even now, like if you ask me parts of high school, I do not remember most of high school
That's fair.
because I was just trying to do everything that I could do to survive. And some of those things that I've like had to unlearn, I won't get into it, but I've had to unlearn because I'm not in this constant like, fight or flight like state anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it clicked that something, had to give, which is so funny that you guys mentioned it, but was when I was cast in Hairspray as Motormouth Maybelle, because
Oh my
I
God.
always had that. It was my high school production, right? And I had always had a dream that I wanted to act, but there was always like this little like thing like, oh, you gotta change before that, right? And then I was cast in that. First of all, it was like my first musical ever, and it was my senior year. And then it was a principal role, right?
Yeah.
I had never sung in front of nobody before. I only acted once, and that was in Macbeth. And I was just like, oh my God, wait, like this could be something that like pushes me forward. Like, why don't you like stay alive and you stay healthy to be able to experience this more? Yeah. It was very spiritual for me. I definitely had like two of those kind of experiences. But that got me to where I am today. So yeah.
Love that.
Well, thank you.
Love that.
I don't even know if you guys realize how fucking impressive it is that you are showing up so young, so in your body, so unapologetically yourself. It's so badass. And I am truly like in awe.
Thank you.
I love it. I'm over here. Normally, Alyssa's the one who will be the first to be like, I'm a theater kid, but I'm over here like my inner theater kid is coming out and being like super excited. Alyssa and I are both theater kids. Grew up doing theater, and I do love that your Mima, your senior year experience was great. Mine. My theater director at the time really thought she was doing something by doing The Wiz with one Black actor. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's
it
definitely
was.
something.
It was something. You know what? It was something. Yeah. But I was cast as Eveline, and I gave it everything I had. I did. I was a great evil witch. But it was something. Yeah, for sure. But
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
I have, and I'm wondering this for you too, Alyssa. And for both of you as well. I think looking back, I think I found so much comfort in theater because growing up, it was like I wasn't allowed to be big physically. And quite often I was told that I wasn't allowed to be big personality wise. I was too much, right? So I almost feel like I gravitated towards theater because that was the one place where I was allowed to be too much, right?
Right.
And it's just this notion that like we're constantly told to shrink ourselves in, physical ways, in personality wise. Just don't be too much this, don't be too much that, don't be too much this. And I'm wondering, I'm asking this to the three of you, no offense, you're not a theater kid, but
I was in marching band.
she was a color guard girly. She
Hey,
was waving
that's
her,
cool too.
but I'm wondering if that, if that showed up for you guys in that way of like, this was where it felt safe to take up space.
What's so interesting is that I like was acting in theater before I had the awareness of my fatness.
Wow.
And through I actually was made aware of my fatness through having to go through casting, and that was jolting.
Yeah.
When I started auditioning for film and stuff, every single thing that I went in for said chubby or larger or round face. It was just like suddenly the joy that I was experiencing was attached to something different. And I felt so trapped by this thing that brought me the most joy in the world that I fell into it for a long time and got really good at playing the mom.
Oh.
And then I got older and I thought, wait, I'm young and I want to play young people. And what I love about this film is that like yes, it's about being fat, but it never made me feel bad for being fat.
Yeah.
And we need stuff like this in order for me to do something where I just am fat and that has nothing to do with it.
Yes. Yes.
That's the next step.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We need this first because we don't have it.
Yeah.
And then next, it's like, what happens when Hermione is fat just because she's fat and she's still the love interest and she's still hot and like, because guess what? Most of America is fat.
Well, J.K. Rowling won't let that happen, but we can have.
Actually, I would not want to work with her specifically, but
the example still stands.
Yeah, right. Just trying to get the nice pop culture example. But like in my current program, there has been like a really lovely effort to sort of unlearn together and like see what happens when we just let people be people. And I think that through theater and film and performance and especially comedy, like I was definitely the kid that was like, I'm just gonna be really super funny so that nobody can say anything because they're laughing at my jokes and not laughing at me.
Yep.
And yeah, so I've had quite the journey when it comes to the theater world, especially the musical sorts where the dancer's body is so expected.
Sure.
And guess what? I can dance and I have a body. So look at me.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't call myself necessarily a theater kid just because
Mima,
like
you're a theater kid.
I don't know if I would call myself a theater kid. I don't don't know. I mean, if you guys
Theater
accept me,
senior in high
like, you
school.
know, yeah, there we go. Like I don't think I was like ever like a theater kid, but one thing that I did do throughout high school was dancing, and that's kind of fun where I felt like I could just like take up space because I'm doing all these movements, you know, and it's fun, you know, it helps me take away my stresses, right? But that's kind of where I kind of just learned to just like be a little bit more comfortable in my body. And also the dance group that I was in, it was like formed with like it was four students. It was my sophomore year. We formed it. It was all Black girls, and we kind of we wanted to bring a different genre into our school system. Um, and I think having that and just having three other Black women who were just, you know, just stayed after school so we can learn dances. Um, it healed something in me. And even now, like that dance group specifically, my baby sister's in it. It's still thriving,
Wow.
and it honestly, like, it brings me to tears all the time because something that was started, I will say Chriselle started it, but we were kind of like in it, and Chriselle was like my high school friend and stuff. But you know, being able to kind of like be in that and kind of just let like the whole school just see me gyrate on stage. You know
Yes.
what I mean? Like
Hell
it was
yes.
something so it was so freeing, and like I want to get back into dancing. I just don't got the time nor the money.
Wait, let's go
But what
dancing. Let's go to a
let's
dance
go
class.
let's go to a dance class.
Please invite
I'm
us.
on
Wait,
I'm on the
yeah.
next
We will
plane
come.
over. Hello.
We will
Let's
come.
go to a dance class.
Alyssa, how does that make you feel?
Yeah. No, and listen, why'd you have to do that?
Are you gonna cry?
No, I also grew up a dancer. And the thing that I feel about dance is that I don't belong and I love it so much. And yeah, I stepped away from it just because it just didn't feel good anymore, you know? And I think different from like what you guys have said, I think I grew up and the bullying was like so intense that I just like received the messaging. I was like, oh, like people don't like me. But then when I was performing, I was like getting applause and laughter. I was like, oh, like that feels good. So I think it was more comfortable to be like other people and like pretend. And what's weird, and that is kind of still true, but also depends, is the people were so much nicer in theater than they were in dance. And I
Yeah.
felt so welcomed into the theater community. It's like, oh, you're all weird. Like that's I can be weird too, you know?
Right.
So I think what was really difficult to navigate was how that changed into college. It then was like, oh, like the way you look, you're only going to get cast in certain roles regardless of your talent or, you know, like regardless of what you really bring to the table. And that started to not feel good. And I started to get really affected by some of the roles I got cast in and some of the jobs I was getting sent by my agent, to the point where I was like, this isn't fun. So I stopped
Right.
completely, which I'm still, you know, working through. Like, I hate that I walked away because of it, you know, but I have in the meantime put in all of my energy into creating a program where kids can come in and we don't cast based on appearance and we have a good time and everyone's included. So I feel like I've used my experience for good and I have made a positive out of it. But yeah.
And thank you.
Well, thank you. It really does have an impact. Like, I 100% miss performing.
Yeah.
I would love to go audition for a show. I 100% miss dancing. I would love to show up for a dance class, but I
would go to a dance class with you.
yeah, I'm still working through it. Every time I want to go, I freeze.
Yeah.
You know?
I'm gonna fly to Charlotte and we're gonna go to dance.
Honestly,
Yes.
okay.
I'll be there.
Good. Yeah, I was actually thinking that, Mima, while you're sharing your story, is like how many of these spaces we have to make for ourselves. Like, it sounds to me like even at your college, Mia, you've created a community where like y'all are doing the work together. You all are kind of thinking about who gets cast in these roles. And it really takes us speaking up and creating the space ourselves. And you weren't able to do it for yourself, but you did it for others, right?
That's literally
Yeah.
what I've heard.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
and maybe as you move into this new place, you could create it for yourself again, but we'll baby step it. But
Right.
again, like it's hard because wouldn't it be great to be in supportive places where we just get to fit in and we just get to participate and we get to engage as ourselves? And yet when we don't find it, thank goodness there are people who are brave and willing to create the space instead. And I love that club is like still going and like it's benefiting the people after you, right? Like,
Yes.
it takes our actions, right? And I think this film and I think the roles y'all play are one of those steps that's going to create more action and going to create more room and more opportunity for other stories to be told. So
Right. Thank you.
we're all
Yeah.
engaged in the same work, just in lots of different ways. And it really just like, to me, this podcast, like getting people on like you all with your experiences is just like a celebration of that work that is happening out there.
I love that. I have one more question, and I don't know if you guys have more questions, but I have one more question. I have definitely been doing some Instagram stalking, and I'm very good at that. And I like to make people feel uncomfortable. Yeah, but no, no. So Mia, it's very apparent from your Instagram that your art is in theater, and I do love that. Mima, I can tell from your Instagram, even though trust me, I did the full scroll. And it is not. It is short. It is short.
Archive, a lot of it.
All right, good to know. Good to know. I noticed that you have quite the talent for makeup, and I just want to know. I want to know more about it. I'm obsessed. I love a good makeup.
Yeah. I'll be so honest. When I saw that on like the bullet sheet,
Yeah.
I thought you were gonna talk about like the movie.
Oh my God, no.
That you were talking about like me and like the makeup that I like doing. Well, that's a very long and like healing history with me and makeup. I started in like the 6th grade, and ever since then, like any little makeup thing that I could buy, like I'm still working on decluttering, but I can just show you guys
I love a makeup declutter video.
insane amounts of
Yes!
palettes that I have that I need to give away or throw out because it's absolutely ridiculous.
I love it.
Yeah, I mean, I used to have like a little Instagram account that's you can no longer find it. So sorry that I did like
You're like,
this
don't
whole
look for it,
series
Allie.
of-
All right.
You're not
I
gonna find
also had a makeup Instagram account when I was like
Yes.
14
Oh, I love
as well. So that
love-
Mima and I bonded on that. That is no
Yes.
longer my journey.
I love that. I love that.
I did a Zodiac series, like, cause I don't know, it was like 2019, like September to December was just like chef's kiss. It was just so good for me. Senior year, like I loved it. But I did a whole series, and I would do like these elaborate makeup looks. And honestly, makeup for me was it was a way to get out of my brain, and kind of just like let my artistic like juices flowing.
Yeah.
I would wake up like 2 to 3 hours almost every morning before school just to do some ridiculous like cut crease with like dark purple lipstick. And
Very
it
demure.
was very, very mindful. Very mindful.
Very
cutesy. But I would just get up and do that because it was like I just felt like it was the only thing that I had control over. Like my clothes didn't fit right. Like I would always have to wear like dark colors, but the makeup, I promise you, when I walked into those doors at 8:15 every morning, you can guarantee there was a beat down.
Oh my
I was
God,
trying something
love.
new.
And like
Yeah.
the skin in person, like it's flawless. Like I wish that you guys could witness.
I mean, it looks
these makeup
flawless
looks
on screen.
in person.
you.
And also, like, to go back to Mima's makeup talent and also the kind of set we were on, it's like Amani, who was our head of makeup, one day like had Mima like do my touch ups. Like, like,
God.
yeah. Like one day Mima came out to me with a powder brush and I was like, oh yeah, like absolutely.
Of course, I would be doing it. First of all, shout out to Amani. She's amazing. Like, she was so great to work with. Like, because it was like she captured like my like high school self, and like in the mornings on the floor in front of a lamp, just doing this makeup. She like captured that and was like, yeah, we're bringing that every single time. And it was just so beautiful to see that like recreated, because now I don't do the elaborate makeup looks anymore. Makeup used to be so fun, and now like I gotta be an adult and stuff, and it's just so sick. Like
Listen, I think
Bring
you
it
need,
back.
you need to show up for that job.
With a green cut
Listen.
crease.
Very mindful.
Listen, don't tempt me. I will do it before. I already told them I was gonna be late. I will do it beforehand.
Do it.
I love that. I love that.
It is just so special. This is so special, and I'm just like ecstatic right now that we get to be at least this tiny little part of the story and the journey that you guys are on and that you're doing. And I am beyond excited to see the movie. Claire sent us the group
Yes.
form. We're trying to get a group, the
Yes.
CLT plus group of all of our fat girl gang to go and watch the movie together.
Oh my god.
Because
that
we
makes
really-
me so happy.
We just want to do whatever we can to uplift this story and support you guys. And I mean, it is just really special that you guys were able to take some time out and talk with us. So thank you
Oh my
so
God,
much.
Thank you for
Thank you
speaking with
guys.
us.
Yeah.
It really, I am walking away from this conversation truly in awe of the work that you guys are doing and how young you are and how secure you are. And it's very, very inspiring. So thank you. Thank you for sharing your stories with us.
Thank you. Thank you for
guys.
holding the space.
Yes.
Oh,
Thank you. Maybe next time you see Alyssa, she'll be dancing again.
Hell yeah.
maybe.
Yup. I want to see it.
I love that.
Thank you
One
guys
step at a
so much
time.
for
Yes,
being
one step at a
here.
time.
So much.
Thank
This was
you.
incredible. Absolutely incredible.
And we wish you lots of luck. We think you're going to have the best experience getting this out there and in people's eyes. I can't wait for y'all to be hearing from all the ages of the people watching you and seeing your stories. And so, yeah, I'm so excited that you're just at the beginning of this journey, and it's going to be a wild, I'm sure, end of semester for you. And I'm laughing because I'm a college teacher, so I'm like, good luck in your classes. Hope your exams go well.
Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Oh my God.
Honestly, that's pretty on brand too.
It really is.
She's like, do well in your classes now.
Make good choices.
Me and my improv class, you know.
I love that for you. I love that.
Thank you.
Hey, I know I ended it with little teacher goodbye, but I know you mentioned it a couple times, like just how impressed you are. That's not to say Mia and Mima aren't still on a journey of like figuring out their stuff with their bodies and acceptance and so on.
Absolutely.
But just the self-awareness, the fact that Mia said at 14, I had the self-awareness to think that I was connecting this idea with my body. I'm like, I don't even know that I had a body until I was about 23 years old.
think
And I was
at
like, oh, I have a
14
body that's like making me feel things.
I'm pretty sure at 14 I was still just like, please don't look at my body.
Oh, for sure.
And
I
that was the
so
only thought I
disconnected.
had. Yeah. Wild.
Yeah,
They're so impressive.
I had a little moment where I was like, am I old? Because no, hear me out. Don't jump to
I'm
conclusions.
so glad you felt it for a second.
Well, because
welcome to the
she
club,
was
Alyssa.
saying, like, I went online and I searched things, and like that wasn't really a thing yet.
Yeah.
Like Instagram didn't come out until I was a senior in high school. So
I feel older because
no,
All right. Well,
for
thanks
sure.
for
And
that.
like, yes, we had Google and the internet, but I wasn't like,
Yeah.
let me find a community.
Well, let's face
Let me
it.
find these ideas.
I think that's the difference. Their generation is used to going on social media to connect with people they don't know. you
Yes.
know? And it wasn't until I was 22 and going into grad school that I did my first Google search that led me to blogs. But even then, it was blogs and Twitter. And that operated differently than now. Like, there was still less pictures of people, but people were posting on blogs, but you had to devote yourself to reading, you know? Like, not everyone's
Yeah.
going to read 2 pages of material.
Yeah.
You know, whereas now you go on TikTok, Instagram, it's like a really super quick way of connecting with others. But also, I think just the fact that their generation is used to connecting with people they don't know online, but B, used to putting themselves, like creating a profile for themselves, regardless of how much they put on it or how much they archive. Mima, I want to see. But like, there's a different, that has to have changed our brains. Like social media, tech, putting ourselves out there, creating profiles of ourselves, presenting ourselves through image and words, that has had to have changed the way we socialize and the way we think about ourselves. And I'm just, you often hear about the negatives about it. Oh, comparison, people lying, people, having to edit their photos and not comfortable with themselves. And there is some of that, but it also brings so much good. So I'm really fascinated by their experiences.
Like I literally just did the math in my head. So it's 2024. Mia is 22. So she was born in 2002. And yes, that does make me feel very old. But like, you got to think about it, right? Like at least Rebecca and I, we were born before the internet, right? We were literally born before the internet. And so like, there is this whole generational divide, but at the same time, I absolutely love that for their generation, they did grow up. Like, while I do think that the internet is a blessing and a curse, and social media is its own devil, I do love for their generation that it has brought about this sense of community, this sense of I feel like treating each other better, and just being more open to different lived experiences. Maybe making more empathetic people, I guess, or at least that's what those two showed me.
Yeah.
Like they I don't know. I'm so impressed by them. I just think that they were so incredible, and yeah, the things that Mia was talking about, that they were processing at 17, 18 years old. I'm like, I was processing that at 31 and 32. Like, I can't imagine what my life would have been like if I didn't, if I had been able to do that when I was so much younger. And at the same time, I'm so happy for them. I'm so happy for them that they get to spend even more of their life enjoying the freedom that comes with that.
Absolutely.
And I'm happy for us that we're doing the work, at our age.
Yes,
because it honestly
absolutely.
could have really continued for us. It
It
continues for a
absolutely
lot
could
of
have.
people. Like I
I
do
mean, we
think
see our parents.
I do think we're amazed at young people doing that, and I'm also equally amazed at my aunt who is doing that. Like it is so cool to see
Yeah.
anyone doing that work, and it can feel like missed years. But sometimes that just leads you to the point you're at then. And
Oh, you're so
and
right.
so it's just
Such
it's
a
just
good
important
point,
work.
Rebecca.
Well, listen, before we wrap up, I would like to talk directly to our listeners and viewers and say, did you notice how I didn't mess up their names? Not even one time.
Good job.
No. Do you want to know how I successfully did that?
You didn't say their names.
I didn't say their names at all.
You know what?
If there was one thing I knew going into this episode, Allie was like, Alyssa, don't mess up their names. I didn't. I just wanted to give myself a little bit of credit. Just a little bit of credit for that one.
I mean, that's a hack.
We love a little hack, a little loophole.
100%.
We
But
love a
listen,
hack.
in all seriousness, they are two beautiful human beings. And I am really just happy we got a chance to talk to them and be a part of their journey right now, especially with this movie. It's just really cool. So
yeah, I'm really interested to hear our viewers and listeners' thoughts about going to watch Empire Waste, knowing the stories of the lead characters before they go watch it.
Yeah.
I think that's really cool. So I hope you will check out Empire Waste and let us know your thoughts about the world of, film media that we often don't get to see ourselves in. So super exciting stuff.
well, we're fat.
We're Fab.
We're friends.
And we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.